Hello and welcome back. My name is Nadia Sayapin, and I'm here to read you the next chapter of The Rebels. This is chapter 33. If you're brand new here, thank you so much for coming. There's a lot of amazing things on the internet and YouTube, so I'm really glad you found me. Also, if you're brand new, this is chapter 33. I got 32 other chapters you might want to read first or listen to first before you get here. But if you don't want to go back, if you just want to start here, then welcome, and I'm glad you're here. Just so you know, this is wholly unedited. I read this for a friend of mine who enjoys audiobooks, but since I can't afford one, I read it out loud to her, and she also likes seeing the mistakes I make, so we're keeping that. Without further ado, this is The Rebels, Chapter 33. I snarled, punched a soldier in the face and spun, whipping my knife out in time to meet another one. Catching his rifle on my arm, I thrust. Turning away before he even fell, I kicked the first soldier in the groin and kneed him in the face when he bent. I spun in a complete circle before I realized that all the soldiers were down and my people were the only ones still standing. We'd followed a patrol into Canby only to find them waiting for us. Fortunately, Phoenix had arrived in the Chimera, giving us a chance in a hairy hand-to-hand encounter. "How is everybody?" I called, walking through the group. We suffered cuts, bruises, 2 creases from bullets, and ink had been hit in the side, a through and through. Fortunately, we brought Doc with us this time. She'd barely managed to save Pork Pie's life and decided that the best way to prevent something like that from happening again would be to come out with us. She immediately got to work on ink, assisted by Squirrel, delving into her pack and producing an odd combination of thread, scalpel, needle, and pots and unguents made by Wildwood. Doc also pulled out packets of dried herbs, and someone got a pot of water boiling. I left ink to Doc's excellent care and joined the fighters in exploring the area Steve had chosen. We gathered outside of a laundromat. "I didn't think they'd set up shop in Canby again." Phoenix looked around at the dilapidated building. "We made that last lot disappear after all." Maybe we have to make 2 lots vanish before they get worried," Dereva said. "I thought I heard something coming from back there." She pointed down the narrow alley. "Fantastic," I muttered as I walked cautiously down the alley, rifle at the ready, making sure to look up. "The very places we were warned to never go. That's where we're heading. I'm SMRT smart." "Quit your bitching and pay attention," Phoenix hissed from behind me. "We have tons of shit we do tons of shit we were told to never do." "Easy for you to say. You're short and behind me." The alley yielded onto a small courtyard, completely surrounded. There were 2 different paint jobs, so at least 2 businesses. The only openings were 3 windows high up the walls and a single door ahead and to my left. I could hear a noise now, metal on metal, clashing and jerking. It was barely audible from the courtyard. We might have misnamed Dereva with hearing like that. After a few minutes without seeing any movement except some birds, we started toward the door, keeping to the walls. When I tried the knob, it opened with a faint creak, and I stopped immediately. Sorry, guys. "Phoenix," I muttered. "In the largest pocket I've got a small can of WD-40. Pull it out for me, will ya?" She shouldered her rifle and worked the zipper of my small pack, which opened smoothly. I regularly doctored the zippers with WD-40 too. Holy fuck. When the can appeared over my shoulder, I grabbed it and liberally oiled the hinges. As soon as she tucked the can safely back in my bag, we moved in, stepping lightly and waiting inside the door until our eyes adjusted to the dim light. The metallic clinking sounded louder, somewhere above our heads, and a faint rustling accompanied by the occasional thump drifted down. We cleared the ground floor quickly and found 3 large rooms bisected by a hall. The front door looked like it had seen plenty of traffic, scuff marks and footprints blurring together. To our left, the stairs rose straight up, ending at the back wall in a blind corner. I loosened the straps holding my handguns on my thighs down before shouldering the rifle again. Phoenix knelt on the bottom step, covering me as I climbed the stairs. At the top, I waited for her to join me, and we checked these rooms too. This floor had obvious signs of life, with cots, bedrolls, and dishes in a small kitchen. Steve may be neat and tidy on the parade ground, They may keep it clean around their commanders, but when left to their own devices, most of these guys were absolute slobs. It looks like the guys' dorm rooms when I went to college, Phoenix whispered, staring around appalled. Like the first time they found out their mom wasn't there to check on them and make sure their beds were made, they just let it all go. To hell, I agreed, making a wide berth around the overflowing trash cans. As I climbed the next set of stairs, I tensed, my breath sounding loud as I waited to see if the guards lurked above. I cleared the stairs, and when Phoenix joined me, we moved through the first room, which only had a large mattress on the floor in one corner, covered in dirty blankets. Sick to my stomach, we entered the other half to see a woman cuffed to handrails next to a toilet. Bedraggled, her hair made indeterminate by filth, the woman appeared to be in her late 20s and sported a black eye, along with a series of other bruises and contusions. A direct approach didn't work as she struggled like a rabbit with its foot caught in a trap. I watched the door as Phoenix set her rifle down, got onto her hands and knees, and slowly crawled over to the woman, whispering soothing nonsense the whole time. A soft thud from the floor below had my head whipping around, and in the middle of her sing-song, Phoenix said, "Go on and check it out. I've got this. You're okay now. Those men are gone. You're okay." I swiped my hands quickly over my pants and took a fresh grip on my rifle, crossing the empty space to the stairs quickly. If I could get them while they were trapped on the stairwell, I'd have a chance. Please let it just be 2 people. Just because I had multiple shots in my rifle didn't mean I wanted to see who'd win in a showdown. A faint squeak and a loaded pause told me the first person had nearly reached the top. I breathed out slowly, aiming where the body should be. A flicker, and I leaped forward, nearly blowing off Thrain's head. I let out an explosive breath and hastily pointed the barrel towards the ceiling while the man stared at me, white as a sheet and shaking like a leaf. "Fucking hell, Captain," he whispered as his wife, guarding the bottom of the stairs, ran up to help her husband lean against the wall, both of them trembling. "Everything okay out there?" Phoenix's voice drifted out, supernaturally calm. "Yeah, we're good." I leaned over, resting my hands on my knees as I caught my breath. "It's friendlies, even Star and Thrain." "Come on," I said to them. "We found a captive cuffed, and I have no idea how to get her out without a saw." The poor woman nearly tore her arm off in a panic when she saw Thrain walk through the door. "Shh." Phoenix rested a hand on the woman's ankle soothingly. "They're friends. He won't hurt you. He doesn't want to, and will shoot anyone who tries." Thrain had to stand in the other room before we could get her calmed, and then he walked in slowly. "I actually know how to pick handcuffs," he confessed quietly. I need to come over there, though," he informed the woman. Is it okay if I walk over? I just need to reach the cuffs." "Keep the cuffs," I told him as he worked over the woman's hand while she strained away, pressing hard against Phoenix. "I want to learn how to do that." His hands blocked what he was doing, but the cuff was off the woman's wrist in a moment. "Sure." He smiled over his shoulder at me, pretending not to see how the woman scrambled away from him, secure with Phoenix and Evenstar. "And you can teach me how to hotwire a car." "Done deal." He had the other cuff off the bar, folded and tucked into his pocket. "Let's ditch this shithole." "No," the woman spoke up, voice raspy and hoarse, surprising all of us. She coughed, clutching the other two to keep upright. "I need to find my family. I'm not going anywhere." "They're not here," I informed her. "You won't be able to find anyone until you're healthy," Evenstar told the woman firmly. "If we let you run off now, you wouldn't get 10 feet. Come with us, we'll get you better, then we'll help you find your family." "Why should I trust you?" "Because we just broke you out." I scratched my head and scooped up my rifle. People are weird. Listen, you may not trust us, but there are people downstairs who've been where you are now, and maybe they can help you more. She continued to stare at me, shaking, terrified, with an edge of belligerence that I couldn't help admire. "Thrain," I called, Yo, can you get Eleanor up here, please? It seems freeing our new friend isn't enough to make us trustworthy, and we really need to leave now. On it, Captain. Footsteps thudded softly down the stairs, and I looked at Phoenix. You see that? I demanded. I asked nicely, and he did it. Why can't you ever do that? Because your requests are usually more along the lines of, Phoenix, can you train all these new people who've never seen two trees together to find their way through a forest? If you just asked me to get Eleanor, I'd say sure, no problem, too. I stuck my tongue out at her, and she grinned, while Evenstar rolled her eyes, and the new woman stared back and forth between us, wariness replaced by confusion. You people are weird. Thank you. I turned to Evenstar. That's the reaction we keep trying for, but do we get that? No. Instead, we get told to behave like grown-ups. You do know we're not paying rent, taxes, or for food, all of those things you're supposed to do when you're adulting. So why do we have to act proper and stodgy? Because you're at an age when you are where you are grown up, maybe? Evenstar's lips twitched. Age is just a number, Phoenix said, nose in the air. I sniggered. Footsteps coming up the stairs forestalled further banter, and Eleanor entered the tiled room. Captain, where are... Oh. If you will, I bowed, arm extended toward the woman. She doesn't trust us, and you're our best bet until we get back to Kestrel. I want to be out of here within the hour. Boom? Phoenix asked. Boom, I confirmed. This shithole's going down. We left Evenstar and Thrain upstairs with Eleanor, the couple whispering to each other in the secret way long-time lovers have, and headed downstairs to finish ransacking the place. I wonder if we'll ever have that, Phoenix asked. What? That! She jerked her head up. What Thrain and Evenstar have. Love. Commitment. You didn't before with... Dylan's father remained unsaid between us. Her young son, murdered by soldiers during the very first weekend of occupation, was rarely mentioned. Memories of him were still too raw and made her sad. No, it wasn't like that with him. That was just stupidity. Once outside, we joined the small swarm of people, some loading supplies into the trucks, others standing guard, tending injuries. The busyness that happens after a battle. Appropriated some explosives and headed back inside. It took some time to locate the trap door, and when we did, we stopped, surveying the black hole, torn cobwebs at the corners, the perfect Halloween decor. You go down, I nudged Phoenix. I went up the stairs first. I crawled on the bathroom floor. I winced. That was pretty bad. Flip a coin? Do you even have a coin? Phoenix arched a disbelieving brow at me. No. What are you arguing about? Thrain called from the bottom of the stairs. Footsteps sounded closer until he wandered through the doorway. Were you just going to let me get lost? Yes. We're debating who's going down there. I pointed to our feet. He cringed. Ugh. He leaned forward again, peering cautiously. I guess I could go? My eyebrows shot up. You're comfortable setting charges? No. In the end, he picked a number and we had to guess. I lost, so I took 3 charges down with me while Phoenix would set the rest on this and the second floor. Have you guys ever dropped a building before? Thrain asked, looking over my shoulder as I prepared. I read an article once, I said seriously. We've blown up a few cars, too. Phoenix smiled brightly. He nodded, lips pursed. I think I'm going to tell everyone to move a little faster. Just in case. It took a while figuring out which beams were the most load-bearing, and even then, I guessed. Thickest beams first? Space was tight under the floor, and I wriggled and squirmed my way through. I wedged the charges between beams and floors as we only had one hand drill, and Phoenix had that. Once out, I found Phoenix still on the first floor, red-faced and sweating, while Storm took her place manning the drill. This shit's exhausting! Phoenix wiped her forehead, then snickered. I never knew you can make all those kinds of sounds, all that squealing and squeaking. It was kind of cute. Storm's shoulders shook and she lost her grip on the drill while Phoenix stared at me blandly. I flipped them both off, then screeched as something fluttered down my back. Get it off! Get it off! I ripped my jacket off, turned, and smashed my back against the wall, rubbing frantically. When I felt sure it was dead, I turned back to the other two, who'd given up all pretense of sophistry and had collapsed to the floor with hilarity. The least you can do is get the remains off! Phoenix kept pausing to wipe her eyes, giggling as I stripped off the harness, and she pulled up the back of my shirt. A fresh cackle had me craning my head around. What the fuck is so funny? She held up a nearly invisible thread of golden brown. It's a hair! She howled. I snarled and tugged my shirt back down and got the harness back on. Fuck you, I enunciated with as much dignity as I could muster. You have 30 minutes. I stalked off, leaving them screeching like banshees behind me. A dozen miles and 2 hours later, I watched the flames rising above the trees. That night, tiny, scattered campfires dotted the ground, all of them invisible from 30 yards. A few people gathered around each one. This is Bear, Eleanor introduced us to the woman. She was taken from her family 3 weeks ago. So you got to experience the plague, famine, and Steve? Seahorse grimaced. I'm so sorry. Keep your sympathy. Bear stared into the flames. I just need to get better so I can get into Salem and find my family. She paused for a moment, then looked up. Who's Steve? Thus ends chapter 33. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you join me again next week for chapter 34.